I came up in a time in the business where there weren't so many compartments. Now everything is compartmentalized. For instance, if you start playing on hip hop records, they're going to start calling you the hip hop bass player, and that's all they hire you for. Just so happens you can play everything. I know this, you know this, but they like to put you in a box. And when they can't do that, the industry gets a little nervous of you. So I played on the biggest hits of the Pretenders, the Joe Cocker's big Unchain My Heart. Played all these big hits. I came out with my own band. They go, well, you're playing strange music. Well, what do you mean? It's not hip hop. It's not R&B. It's not, it's not Marvin Gaye. So what? I'm the same guy playing on the hits that you heard on the other records. But they said, you don't look the part. You look more hip hop. You mean I look black? Hello? When I looked in the mirror, I saw that. But why do you see colors? Hear colors, don't see them. Because just now you played some funk that I was like digging on, man, and I don't care what color you were playing. And we need to get away from that and get more to this. So, my whole thing comes from, I never said no. To get Miles Davis, I was sitting in my house. Actually, I had lived in an apartment way smaller than this in New York. The phone rang. Ring! Hello? This lady. My name is Keiko. Moshi moshi. Kumbawa. How are you? How are you? You did an Al Foster record and you did Brecker Brothers. Yes, I did. They call you Youngblood? Yes. They said you have good jazz feel. Do you play jazz? No. I just play what I play. If it sounds jazzy, thank God. Mr. Miles Davis wants you to play. I went, yeah, and I'm the Pope. Yeah, right. I hung up. Ring, ring. I'm not joking. Okay, I'll play. I never said no. And then a limo came around my house. I got in. It was a big black limousine. Al Foster gets in. All the guys get in. Larry Coryell. We drove up to Connecticut. The door opens, and we saw Miles in the door. I went, oh my God, I was scared. He looks at us, welcome. He goes upstairs. How are we supposed to rehearse if he's upstairs? What he did, he had an intercom. And he'd listen to us upstairs, and we'd be playing. And Al Foster would be going, shh, 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 yeah. Yes? Open eye head. Okay. We played again. Don't play that note so long. He would never come in the room. He would go upstairs. I asked him, why do you do that? That's strange. He said, if I'm standing in front of you, I'm going to intimidate you. But if I'm not in the room, you're going to play what you feel, and I can hear what you're playing, and I can direct you better. That was Miles. Then I get another call. Of course, it was James Brown. I couldn't believe I was playing with my hero. And how that happened, I used to go to the Apollo Theater, if you know where that is. 125th Street. You may be too young for that. And I saw every James Brown show. I would go at 12 noon and they have cartoons, Three Stooges, this and that and this. And at night, the star of the show! James! I would see everything. All the shows. They did 2-3 shows. One night, he was about to finish his last song. I went around the corner to the back of the Apollo and he came out and he got in his limo and I knocked on the window. Mr. Brown! He went, what? I love what you do. One day I want to play with you. And he gave me the rap. Get a job, stay in school, don't ever do drugs, you'll be funky, ha! Roll the window up, he pulled off. Okay. 20 years later, I was in the studio playing his record. And then that night I was sitting in the studio and the background singers were caught in traffic. The rhythm section went home, but I wasn't leaving anywhere. I wanted to see Mr. Brown do his thing. And he walked out of the studio and told the producer, I'm gonna fire you. I can't sing the song without the backgrounds. But what am I gonna do? Get him to sing. I don't sing. You're singing, I'm singing. Okay, right? So then he leaves and I go, living in America, etc. I did 8 tracks of that and that's how that started me singing. He came back, he said, now that's what I call a vocal track. I can do that. And I went, Mr. Brown, you're not going to remember this, but you told me to stay in school when I get out, get a job and don't do drugs 20 years ago at the Apollo. He never remembered. But the moral of this story is if you follow your dream will follow you. I ended up really playing with him. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? And from that point, I joined the Pretenders and I did all of his backgrounds in London. They brought a slave tape and I just sang them all. So that was my debut for singing. And I was in the Pretenders by then. Cocker was another thing. We had a big fight in the studio. Ray Charles, Unchain My Heart was Unchain My. That was his bass line. And I love Ray Charles. And he says, play the song. I said, I'm not playing that. I'm paying you to play what I tell you. And I ain't playing that. He said, what you gonna play then? And I played it like Larry Graham. I went, Unchain My Heart. He went, oh, that's kind of funky. That was one take. The band came in and we did the whole one take. That saved my career because he had a hit on it and he hired me. Otherwise, I'd have been fired. And that was the beginning of my career with him, and I learned from each artist. So I mean, from Mahavishnu to Miles to, I mean, this has been a crazy, it's been a crazy ride. I've played with too many different bands. Mahavishnu was amazing. We never knew what he was going to play. So I think I came at a time when you was able to do many different things. Now it's not so many live gigs, and a lot of bands are playing with sequencers. So I came at a time when you can just play, and that's how I learned. I even got a Broadway play. Told the guy I could read. I couldn't read nothing. I couldn't. And he said, can you read? Yes. I never said no. Yeah. Took me to the audition, and I looked at the piano player. It was called Your Arms Too Short to Box a God, Broadway. And I watched the piano player. Again, those gospel piano players have left hand. He was going. I went, okay, and I copied it because I have a good ear. About a month later, the director came down and said, Mr. Stevens, can we speak to you? Yeah, did I do something wrong? No, but we know that you can't read. Well, how the hell do you know that? Because you ain't playing a damn thing on the paper. But it's what the song, no. What's on the paper is not what his left hand is doing. But I thought I was fired. But because you play with heart, and you play with devotion, and you were really sweating in the pit and really going at it, we're going to keep you, and we're going to change the book to what you were playing. This is interesting. So they changed the whole part to what I was playing on the bass, and because I knew what I was playing, I was able to learn how to read, because I went, that's an E, and that dot on there is an E. That's how I learned. And my understudy came, and he learned my parts, and my understudy is someone you know, Marcus Miller. He just got out of music and art, and he was my understudy. And then I went on the road with Nard and Michael Walden. He took over the play, and I wrote that hit. Remember that? Do you know that? You don't know that. I should have loved you. That became a huge #1 hit. And that was how I learned how to play, because I didn't know how to thumb. I thought that's how you thumbed. So that's a long-winded answer, and you said it wasn't short.
That's true.
But I've been very blessed to have played with such a wide variety of people. You know, from jazz, extreme jazz, all the way to extreme pop. So I think that rounded me out, and I wish the business would go back to that.